Alright, today we'll be covering exam paper structure first and foremost, which is section 2 of the whole course. Now, first off, we have two components of the exam. Component 1, which you must take even if you're taking coursework instead of component 2, but component 1 is paper 1, reading, which is 2 hours long, worth 80 marks, which is half of 160 if you didn't know that. 160 is the full marks. 3 questions, 13, including sub questions. Well, there are a lot of them. And the insert contains 3 related texts, A, B, and C. It can be about anything. It can be about elephants, can be about buildings, can be about rainforests, it can be about new technology, it can be about making friends. And then component 2 is the optional paper. You have to take either paper 2, directed writing and composition, or the coursework. Most people would go for paper 2, and that's what we're covering today. Directed writing and composition, also known as the writing paper. Now it's 2 hours long, so I highly recommend you to use 1 hour per question. And it's 80 marks, 40 per question. There's 2 questions: directed writing, section A, and composition, section B. So the insert contains 1 or 2 related but oppositely opinionated texts for section A. It's usually 2 for directed writing in recent years. Now here comes the assessment objectives, what you're assessed on for the entirety of the exam. Now, reading objective 1, to read and respond in different ways to different types of texts. Now, into sub objectives, reading point 1, demonstrate understanding of explicit meanings, meaning to show that you understand the obvious meanings communicated in text. R2, demonstrate understanding of implicit meanings and attitudes, meaning that you can show that you can recognize hints and suggestions in a text to understand the more hidden meanings and attitudes of the writer. R3, analyze, evaluate, and develop facts, ideas, and opinions using appropriate support from the text. So you can refer to supporting evidence from the text where appropriate, such as using quotations or references to the text. Reading point 4, demonstrate understanding of how writers achieve effects and influence readers. Show that you can understand how a writer has influenced the reader through their use of language, and consider the deliberate choices a writer has made and why they've made those choices. And reading point 5, select and use information for specific purposes, and you can deliberately write them. Writing points. Objective number 2. Write accurately and effectively using standard English, the English I'm speaking now, and also you can write in modern English appropriately. Now, writing point 1. Articulate experience and express what is thought, felt, and imagined. So you write convincingly to convey real and imagined experience, thoughts, and feelings. Writing point number 2, organize and structure ideas and opinions for deliberate effect. To sequence and connect the ideas and opinions effectively within your written response to interest and influence your reader. Now, writing point 3, use a range of vocabulary and sentence structures appropriate to context. When we're talking about spelling, it doesn't matter whether you use American or British spelling, just make sure it's consistent. Alright, you use those deliberately within each written response to achieve certain effects. Writing point 4, use register appropriate to context. Vary your writing to suit the purpose, audience, and the format of the task. You might want to write, usually it's semi-formal, but then some of them will be formal or informal. But be careful, you are sitting in exam still, so don't be too informal. And writing point 5, a lot of people overlook this. It's simple but really important to make accurate use of spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Alright, now the actual structure. Component 1, paper 1, reading. parts. Question 1A to E is comprehension. Question 1F is summary, worth 15 marks. Questions 2A to C, short answer questions, 10 marks. Question 2D, language task, 15 marks. And question 3, extended response, 25 marks. For comprehension, you have to read text A and respond to a series of sub-questions. Text A is just for the comprehension bit. Now, text B is for the summary bit, and that's the only thing you use text B for. So you have to write a summary of no more than 120 words based on the text and the question. Question 2A to C, short answer questions. This is where you use text C a lot, the longest text that you will be given. And you respond to a series of sub-questions. And then you have to reread text C for language task and write around 200 to 300 words in response to a question, focus in certain paragraphs on text C. So you select 3 relevant examples of interesting imagery from each of the paragraphs specified and analyze these examples to show how the writer uses language to convey meaning and to create effects. For extended response, you also have to reread text C and highlight some key points and write 250 to 350 words in response to the task to use and develop ideas and details from text C and write in a format given. Now we also have comprehension here. This is 1A to E. Question 1A. To identify 2 specific pieces of information from the text, 1 mark. Yep. Question 1B1. To explain using your own words what a word or phrase in the text means. So the word or phrase will have a surface meaning for you to explain, which is also 2 marks. Question 1B, in entirety, you have to use your own words, but synonyms of those words are sufficient. If you want to use definitions, you can as well for the whole phrase, but don't repeat the words given. Now, for question 1B2, the word or phrase will have a more implicit meaning, which means you have to consider its meaning a little more carefully. Now, both of them are each worth 2 marks, so question 1B in total is worth 4 marks. Question 1C. Identify 2 specific pieces of info from the text, 2 marks. Question 1D1. Identify 2 specific pieces of information from the text, 2 marks. And question 1D2. Explain something based on the text, making 3 separate points for the full 3 marks. So question 1D in total is 5 marks. Question 1E. Explain something from the text using your own words, making 3 separate points for 3 marks. Use inference here to find the suggested or hidden meaning. Now on to short answer questions. Questions 2A. There will be 4 sub-questions asking about this, hence there are 4 marks. Identify a word or phrase from the text which suggests the same ideas as the words underlined in the 4 sub-questions. Explain using your own words what each of the 3 words or phrases underlined means in context in question 2B. Question 2C. Select one example from the section of text printed underneath the question and use it to explain how the writer suggests something using your own words. Now 3 marks, 3 distinct points, analyzing use of language and structure. And finally, we're on paper 2, the writing paper. Section A, directed writing, and section B, composition, both for 40 marks. Now, directed writing would be based on 1 or 2 texts, usually 2. You'll be asked to write 250 to 350 words in response to the task for your own opinion. You will be required to evaluate and develop the information in the text using some of the same skills as in paper 1, question 3, or extended response. You will be asked to create a discursive, argumentative, or persuasive response. Discursive just means flow of ideas. And using your own words in one of the following formats: a speech, a letter, or an article. Now, composition is where you can literally go wild and your creative juices can flow. It offers a choice of 4 questions, 2 descriptive and 2 narrative. You should choose one of them and use the title to develop and write an intriguing composition of 350 to 450 words. Alright, now that's it for exam paper structure. See you for exam techniques.